Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. As you guys know, Tesla has opened up their supercharger network to non-Tesla cars. This has been going on for a long time in Europe, where in Europe they're not even allowed to use the Tesla plug. They have to use the standard CCS2 plug in Europe, and they have to open up their chargers to other vehicles in Europe. So that's been going on for a while. But then, I think it was February 15th, they announced that, they had come to a deal in order to get some money from the infrastructure bill. They had to agree to open up the supercharger network to non-Tesla vehicles. So they were going to open up at least 7,500, with at least 3,500 of them being superchargers. And they would get access to the infrastructure bill build out for electric charging stations that way. So in fact, just in the past week, past several days, they have released this network for allowing non-Tesla EVs to charge in some of their superchargers. And the way they do it is with this magic dock system. So what you do is when you go into your Tesla app and you click this charger non-Tesla, what will happen is the Tesla plug locks into this adapter, and this CCS2, excuse me, CCS1 port unlocks out of the magic dock, and then you can DC fast charge your non-Tesla vehicle that has a CCS1. And a couple of people have been demonstrating it. So here's a video.
All right, so we have Phil here. He's got an F-150 Ford Lightning. Yep. And today, obviously, we have Tesla's non-EVs are allowed now at the supercharger. So Scotts Valley is one of those. And so we're just going to watch his experience as he opened the app.
Yep.
And then, obviously, he's at Scotts Valley. He's going to zoom in.
Like
he's going to select it. And then he's going to click charge here. Installs to B. Awesome. It looks like literally is going to unlock. Wow. Look at that.
So there is the CCS1.
Wow. That's insane.
And you see that it's charging.
Blue lights for charging.
Wow.
Okay, so basically it shows you it works great, and people say that CCS plugs are not as reliable. It has nothing to do with the plug. It's clearly that the charging networks that Electrify America and other charging networks are running, they're just not keeping them up, and their network is just not as well maintained as the Tesla Supercharger network. Because this is essentially, it's a CCS vehicle and it's charging no problem using the Tesla Supercharger network. Now, here is a video from Out of Spec Reviews talking about one of the major issues, which is that all Tesla vehicles, their charge port is on the driver's side rear. And all the superchargers are designed to work with that. And the supercharger cables are very short. And you want them to be short because they are very thick cables and they use a lot of copper. And the longer you are, you have more resistance and you lose some efficiency to the resistance within the cable. And also there's a lot more copper, and there have been some reports of people vandalizing fast charging stations just to extract the copper out of them. So you do want, for efficiency reasons and for cost reasons, you want the cable to be as short as possible. And so Tesla has made their cables very short, but they're made to be used with Tesla cars that all have their charge ports on the driver's side rear of the vehicle. And in non-Tesla vehicles, they put them, sometimes it's in the front, sometimes it's in the back, sometimes the passenger side, sometimes it's the driver's side. So he talks about the issue there.
Out of the car. Whereas on every single Tesla, the charge port is over on the left-hand side of the car, on the driver's side of the car. So normally, if a car pulls into this spot right here, it would actually use this 1C charging supercharger. But if I wanted to use 1C, I can't plug the car in here, and this charging cable is way too short to reach over there. So what I unfortunately have to do is I have to, in effect, block this charging spot and consume the energy from this charging supercharger. And so, I don't know, folks, but while this is a super elegant design, there's some logistical problem here in terms of the cables being.
Okay, so essentially, with a non-Tesla car, unless you can maneuver it so that it works with the correct charger, because the correct charger for this slot is this station here, he's parking in this slot, effectively blocking this, and having to use this, which effectively blocks this spot. So he's using two spots to charge one vehicle. And if you want to make people upset, you can that's a recipe at a busy station of making people upset by taking up two slots to charge one vehicle. It's highly inefficient. And so this is something that needs to be fixed. This is a logistical problem that Tesla should fix. And I think I have a suggestion for them. So I couldn't find a higher resolution picture of this, so forgive the graininess of it. But this is just a schematic of a gas station. So gas stations, the gas stations, when you look at them, they don't work like this. Like the gas station, the pump isn't at the end, and you like pull up to it and park at it. It's basically like a pull through, and the pumps are on the side. And so depending on where it is, you can pull up on this side, pull up on this side, or back in. And so it doesn't matter where your gas tank, where your fill port is. It can be in the front, it can be in the back, it can be right side, left side, it could be in the middle, in the center. It's just going to work for everyone. And I think Tesla should build out their superchargers, and I think everyone should build out their chargers this way, is make it like a gas station. I mean, you don't necessarily need to leave space here, and you could compress this area here so it's more like a parking lot. So people can come in and pull in back end first or front end first, but put the supercharger or the EVSE in the center island here. You can make this very narrow so you don't waste that much land, and then every car will have their own pump. So it seems like a no-brainer to me. So I don't know why they don't. I don't know why they do this. I mean, essentially every electric car charging station is like this, and the non-Tesla ones just have ridiculously long cables so that they can, reach either side. But that's not efficient. And I think designing it like this would just be much more efficient. Just, get rid of this space, and then make this shorter, and then get rid of this space. So it's just basically like a parking lot, and instead of having the charging stations in between the cars this way, you have the charging stations in between the cars this way. And that way, everyone can pick the orientation that works for them, and then that's better. The other thing that I've talked about that I hope that probably Tesla is in the best position to do, because they have the largest network. But I think every charging network should figure out some kind of queuing stage way, like a way of queuing up for the charger. Nothing is more annoying than having your app say that there's a charging station available and you're driving to it, and then like 5 minutes before you get there, someone plugs into it. And then you've driven all the way there and there's no plug available. So what they should do, I think, is, and then also like when you get to the charging station and the charging station's being used, you're lining up for it, and you just kind of have to like eyeball the other people and say, hey, can I have next on that charging station? And hope that everyone plays nice with you. But what would be ideal is you say, hey, I'm going to come to this charging station. I'm 15 minutes away. Please reserve this spot for me, and I will be using it for X number of minutes. I'll be using it for 30 minutes. So then you get it's like a table reservation at a restaurant. You have like a 5-minute window of that time where it's held for you, and only you can plug into it. No one else can plug into it. And then you get it for that 30 minutes that you say, and then people will have a reservation after you. And that way you don't have this thing where you show up and someone has plugged in right before you. If there was a reservation system, you would see, oh, someone has reserved it, so I'm not going to go there. It's reserved for the time that I would be there. And when you get there, there's just you see the line of people that are supposed to be using that charger. So I think as electric vehicles become more popular and this thing becomes there becomes more of a scarce resource, the charging stations, they need to figure out some kind of reservation system for it. So that's my two suggestions, mainly to Tesla, is design it like this, with getting rid of the dead space, and then set up some kind of queuing system. I think that would help a lot. But it is good to see that that you can use non Teslas at Tesla Superchargers already. All these videos hit about 5 or 6 days ago. So, oh, an interesting byproduct of this is, look at this crazy thing. This is a NAX port going into the Magic Dock, which is a CCS1 plug, which is going to a CCS to Tesla port. So you're using two adapters that basically turn it back into a Tesla port to charge this Tesla. And what I suspect is going on is this person had a salvage Tesla that was no longer could no longer charge at a supercharger, because the supercharger communicates back to the Tesla network your VIN number and whether you have the rights to use a supercharger. And if you have a salvage Tesla, then you're not allowed to use a supercharger, or for whatever reason, if they blocked you, you're not allowed to use it. However, if you go through this, it thinks that it's a non-Tesla, so it doesn't even check for it, and then it'll let you charge. Now, Aptera is going to have a NAX port, and I sure hope we don't have to go through this craziness to access the supercharger. That would just make no sense. Hopefully the Tesla network will just let us plug straight into this and go straight into the Aptera. I can't see why they wouldn't do that. They're trying to get money to say, okay, we're going to play nice. Please give us the money. We're going to build out this thing. And if they make people do this, I mean, it's going to be pretty obvious that they're not playing nice, and they're just trying to make it difficult just for the purpose of making it difficult. So, and they're trying to get people to use the NAX port. So Aptera will be probably the first manufacturer that's a non-Tesla to use the NAX port. And you would think Tesla would reward Aptera by giving them direct access to the supercharger network without having to use all these crazy adapters. All right. Well, tell me what you guys think of this idea. Is it crazy? Is it stupid? Is it inefficient? Have you had problems with showing up at chargers and having someone plug in just a few minutes before you got there, and then you drove all the way there for no reason? And do you think like a line or a queuing system within the app would be a good idea? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks as always to our supporting members, and have a great day.